Good afternoon. Halfway through each academic year, at the start of our spring semester, I present to our faculty, staff, students, and other stakeholders an update on the progress of our university, the youngest and most innovative university in Georgia. Today, I welcome you to this 2022 State of the University Address, speaking from the Payton T. Anderson Enrollment Center on our Macon campus. As you join me, the 2-year-old pandemic still haunts our world, our work, and each of us personally. But today, I want to reassure you that our work, our success, our strength, and our promise remains as resilient and hopeful as the day in 2015 when the Board of Regents had the confidence and faith in us to designate us as a state university. Today, I stress, because of the power of knowledge that is entrusted to us, Middle Georgia State University is poised right now to move forward to new heights of excellence in its service to the people of Georgia. My address focuses on this theme, that we have weathered the headwinds facing us these past 2 years with great versatility, courage, and success, and that we are ready for new extraordinary achievements in the year ahead because we have resolutely and wisely persevered in our efforts together as a learning community. Let's first recognize that our achievements have in large part occurred these past 2 years because of the amazing leadership of our COVID-19 task force, which kept us informed, healthy, and capable of managing our work so ably. To Dr. Tara Underwood, whose expertise and leadership navigated our return to campus efforts, and to nurse practitioner Autumn Lucas and the COVID team, we simply honor and thank you as a university. You have been proverbial rock stars during COVID-19. Their work now continues under Dr. Jennifer Brandon's leadership, and let us plan and work to enter a new season of life in the months ahead. Our endurance and leadership have enabled us to pass some extraordinary milestones on the path we have trod for 2 years in the face of the pandemic's headwinds. It is impossible to list all the transformational accomplishments we have delivered, but I shall highlight a few today. This building, where I'm speaking today, was part of an historic fundraising win for our foundation, which concluded our multi-year Legacy of Greatness campaign in the fall with over $11.6 million raised for the benefit of our students. This level of support, with the amazing work of our faculty and staff, has driven record levels of graduation, with over 800 December graduates recently graduating with over 550 bachelor's degrees and 110 master's degrees. This is what happens when excellence and resilience come together, and it starts well before graduation and across all our campuses. For example, in Warner Robins, our information technology dual-enrolled classes are being taught at Project Synergy, a partnership site with Robins Air Force Base and Houston County Schools, delivering the promise of a career-building education with the Robins 402nd Software Engineering Group. This is how we build success incrementally. From my first day as your president, I have stressed that the diversity of our students, programs, modes of learning, and campus identities is actually our unity, our identity, and our mission. It is complicated to operate, as you know, but it is the core of our strength. And that has now been recognized regionally and nationally. As I speak, many of you are working hard to submit our SAC-COC 5th year interim report in just 6 weeks, an enormous task for which we owe each of you gratitude. And this report comes on the heel of SAC-COC now recognizing us as a doctoral granting Level 5 institution, awaiting confirmation of that status by the SAC-COC board in a few months. So we are showing our adaptability in both the promise of an MGA education to dual-enrolled high school students as well as with doctoral students. What an extraordinary privilege and accomplishment. We have emerged since consolidation and university status to be the university of choice for many kinds of students at different stages in their lives, their learning, and their circumstances. Thank you, faculty and staff, for getting us to this enormous milestone. Our success is also now recognized nationally. Last month, our new Carnegie classification acknowledged this growth, officially designating us as a master's college and university within the national Carnegie system. As we continue to see graduate enrollment growth and graduate programming diversify, we are poised to reach new student audiences across our region. Of course, the bulk of our students that we will educate will remain undergraduates. To the thousands of them who have continued their studies during COVID-19, we have respect for their resilience and perseverance to learn. They excel in ways small and large and continue to do so despite the stresses of the pandemic. That is why the programs that we successfully launched in well-being and in mental health awareness have been so vital. Our core values of engagement and adaptability have meant that we need to ensure our students' emotional and psychological circumstances have empowered them not to despair and divert, but to hope and to progress toward degree completion. Our levels of programming, training, and resources for mental health reached new levels and outcomes this year. Thank you to our student affairs colleagues who have championed these efforts. We will need to maintain this work for a while yet, but we have learned that coming together is what thriving communities do in support of their members. And despite these challenges, hundreds of individuals across our university have achieved incredible results this past year in their work and studies, not least those who succeeded in graduating. Let me illustrate this capacity to thrive with just two examples. In September, one of our student athletes, Naufal Kamaruzzaman, was selected by Malaysia to represent his home country in the Davis Cup tennis tournament in Amman, Jordan. Yes, one of our MGA student athletes is a world-class tennis professional. Closer to home, faculty like Terry Miller, chair of our Department of Respiratory Therapy, was inducted as a fellow of the American Association for Respiratory Care because of her profound and sustained contributions to her profession. This excellence in our faculty, staff, and students was a primary reason to strengthen salaries for employees and maintain affordability for our students. So, we implemented a CVIG salary study that released an additional $1.8 million for staff salaries and benefits this year, and we are now reviewing a similar plan for faculty. It is imperative that this university attracts and retains talent, and this administration is committed to providing working conditions and salaries that achieve that end. Similarly, our record level of granting $500,000 in student scholarships, coupled with our extraordinarily affordable price point for tuition, ensures that our students receive the best value and quality education in Georgia. In short, we have made extraordinary accomplishments this year, and in doing so have demonstrated that learning is not always easy, but it is always empowering. Last summer, I outlined our strategic priorities for this academic year at Convocation, which were selected to counter the pandemic's impact on our institution and to position us for stronger opportunities in the future. I am pleased to report, halfway through this year, we have made huge strides in each of the 13 priorities that we identified to safeguard our future. When this State of the University address is published, we shall include the scorecard for our strategic priorities so you can view our progress to date and must do for the next 6 months to gear up for post-pandemic success. To each of you focused on these priorities, please do not let up. I shall identify just two priorities here. One is campus presence, and the other is aligning academic planning with enrollment. I believe that everyone listening to this address understands the critical need to get those priorities in shape for next fall. After 9 semesters of strong enrollment growth, our enrollment and campus presence has dropped troublingly for 3 straight semesters. Today, our spring headcount is down 5% on last spring and nearly 8% in credit hours. We know this, we see it, and we feel it. And to put it bluntly, it is not a sustainable situation. But it is directly in our hands to rectify, and that is the good news. Undoubtedly, COVID-19 and the suspension of the SAT requirement hurt us badly this past year, but both those issues are losing their negative impact on our upcoming fall enrollment. We can take great encouragement now that there is a clear increase in applications for admission at both first year and graduate levels. And our retention numbers for this spring have been stronger than anticipated. So we have reason to strive again now for realistic growth. Today, 20% more students have applied for admission and over 50% more have been admitted than at this point last year. As our enrollment momentum for next fall gains strength, I ask our faculty and staff to prepare rigorously for a large and diverse matriculating class of 2022 with campus presence at the heart of our strategy. Online learning is essential to MGA, but must be used sparingly and intentionally, especially with undergraduate students, and not simply as a convenient option. It is not. It is a restrictive and often risky pedagogy. So, deans of schools, you must lead your chairs and faculty to deliver the right and best level of mixed pedagogies to support residential, in-person enrollment next fall. That is not only desirable, but necessary and expected. And what of next fall? If one thing is sure, the pandemic has proven that predicting the future is a fool's enterprise, and I don't plan here to own that crown. But I can say that we have positioned ourselves now to thrive again with early signs of that new season of life. Let's use the example of our Dublin campus. For the past few years, it has candidly often been a quiet place. But when you visit that great campus today, you can literally see the foundations of a new future taking place in the $5 million plus renovations that have started. Because of the extraordinary successes of our government relations, we have secured millions of dollars this past year in new funding for nursing in Dublin and are poised now to develop it as a health sciences hub, serving our students and the communities of rural Georgia. Similarly, the outstanding growth of our aviation programs has been supported with millions of dollars in appropriations and bonds, and that trend will surely continue if we maintain this progress with a future expansion and much-needed renovation of our Eastman campus to maintain the pipeline of Middle Georgia graduates into the best aviation careers. This emergence of campus identity must be resolutely followed for each of our campuses. If we do so, we can restore our residential life and create energy and vigor on our residential campuses in Macon and Cochrane, which currently are hurting due to the pandemic. Our new provost, Dr. David Jenks, understands this and is now leading a campus-wide initiative to build a new academic master plan that aligns academic planning, campus identity, and student presence. We welcome this work and look forward to the roadmap it will provide for our academic mission ahead. I mentioned earlier our staff salary adjustments and our ongoing review of faculty salaries, and I said we must attract and retain the best professionals. It is abundantly clear that we have managed extraordinary change with very limited resources. Last summer, you heard me say at convocation that we must pursue an economic model for the university that equitably matches with our peers in the state university sector. Currently, let me be clear, it does not. The Chancellor and her staff have been very attentive to this issue this year and receptive to our case. In 3 months, we shall know our budget for fiscal year 23, and we shall have the opportunity again to make our case to the USG in March. I cannot guarantee today what will emerge from those final budget decisions. What I can assure you is that our case has never been stronger, that I shall relentlessly press our case with the USG, and that our success to date is because of your work and patience in doing more with less over many years. That is not a principle or practice that I ask you to follow forever. My pledge is that the administration will continue to press for resources from the state, from grant agencies, and from philanthropic donors so that we can continue to be both affordable and excellent. And excellent does, I know, mean that our faculty and staff need the resources to perform excellently. My sincere belief and hope is that in a few more months we shall be gratified with our budget for next year. For now, I ask your patience as this plays out. Why am I hopeful? In part because the economic conditions now evident within the state of Georgia. The governor's call for an increase of $5,000 in the salaries of every state employee funded in the current amended budget and sustained in next year's FY23 budget is part of a general good news story about Georgia's economic well-being and resources. Governor Kemp is calling on the General Assembly for major investments in the state and its agencies, including within the USG. At the last Regents meeting, the acting Chancellor said that in her 2 decades of state finances, she has not seen such a strong investment plan. Our response must be to use this environment of optimism and opportunity to full advantage. We can, in this economic climate and with post-pandemic planning, deliver shortly a future for our university that will be more prosperous, rewarding, and powerful than the past 2 years. While each of us feels the fatigue of the pandemic in our lives and our work, the warm winds that are starting to blow offer us not just the return of a spring season, but the tangible opportunity to make next year a huge win for Middle Georgia State University. We must keep our eye on that prize and work for it now with the conviction that it is going to be a better time ahead very shortly. Next year will be the last one of our current strategic plan, Elevating Middle Georgia. And we will then begin developing a new plan for this wonderful new university. I am confident that we will finish our current plan well and develop the next one from a position of restored excellence with a clear sense of our past successes and a vision for the future, founded on the knowledge that we indeed overcame the hardship of the last 2 years. Charles Dickens published his famous novel, A Tale of Two Cities, in 1859 after a time of revolutionary upheaval and great adversity throughout Europe, to illustrate the possibility of resurrection and renewal for individuals and societies. Most people are familiar with one key line from that great work. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. But less well known is the sentence that came next. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. Those words speak to us today across the centuries. We must always be a university community of wisdom, so that the best of times can be made available to all who come here to study, live, and work. I know we can do that, and we shall. That is the hope and vision that will restore us to strength and vitality as we finish this academic year and look forward to a new one in a few months. I wish each of you a wonderful and healthy 2022, and I thank you for what you do for the Middle Georgia State University community.